Hey everybody, this is Jason Creel and this is Lawn Care Life, and today I wanted to give you a video about gaining and losing customers in the lawn care business, and I want to also talk about if your competition starts playing dirty and how to respond to that. Let's get started with the video. Now, for whatever reason, I was telling a friend yesterday, I said the last 2 or 3 weeks I have lost several customers. And that's not something that's pleasant anytime, but for whatever reason, it's just started happening in this little brief window. But for some reason, I've had several in a short period of time. Now, some of them, like you probably experienced if you're in the lawn business, people are just moving. They say, I'm moving out of town, that sort of thing. And they're complimentary your service. Now, I'm doing weed control and fertilization. And my experience doing that and both mowing, I find there is a higher turnover rate on the weed control and fertilization. Sometimes it comes from sheer expectations and what can you deliver in a certain amount of time. So I've had a couple people fire me just after 2 or 3 treatments where they started, say, in April. One of them, I know for a fact, started in April and fired me in June. And and that's just how it goes sometimes. They don't give you enough time to do a whole lot. So, but I wanted to talk about, let me go ahead and address if your competition plays dirty, because I lost one customer that I got frustrated with. Not the customer, I got frustrated with how I lost the customer. Let me tell you the story. So basically what happened was I get a call from one of my good customers. Now it's a small yard, it wasn't a lot of money, but he was always very kind to me, paid on time, my kind of customer, and had a nice zoysia yard. Well, in his zoysia yard, he had a decent amount of a weed we call Virginia buttonweed, if you're familiar with that. It's a little vine that grows in your yard and is almost impossible to get rid of. I say almost, I really think it's impossible to get rid of with a herbicide, but I don't know. You can't kill it to my knowledge. You can spray it, it turns brown and goes away, and then it comes back, and you spray it turns brown, goes away, comes back, that sort of thing. I explain that to my customers. I found trying to really explain myself to the customers to set their expectations. Well, in this particular situation, he calls me, and it was on a weekend. I didn't answer, and he left me a message, a lengthy message. Say, Jason, I really appreciate what you done on the lawn, and gave me a good price. He said, but I found somebody came by the other day, and he said that he could get rid of that weed for me in my yard. And I thought, I know exactly what weed he's talking about. He's talking about the Virginia buttonweed on the left side of his house, because that's where it grows. And I heard that message, I just got frustrated, and I thought, you know what, this is, anyway, I called him back. I called him, I think Monday or something, and left him a message, and he didn't answer, unfortunately, because I was just wanting to talk to him. I said, listen, I'm not frustrated with you. I just want to tell him on the message. I said, but I am frustrated with whoever told you that they could get rid of that weed. I said, we've talked about it, it's Virginia buttonweed. I said, you spray it, it turns brown. I said, maybe I could do a better job of controlling it for you, suppressing it, keeping it down. But anybody that comes in and tells you that they can get rid of that weed for you, I mean, I'm not a betting person, but I would almost be willing to go double or nothing next year that weed's gonna be back. He's not gonna get rid of it. And so I don't know if the person who told him that, they're either lying, which that bothers me, if they will come in there and say stuff that's not true. Just it's kind of one of them deals where you just say whatever you got to say to get the business. And that may not be the case. I'm not accusing, but it's a possibility. The other possibility is they just don't know what they're talking about. And they say, oh, look, there's a weed, I'll spray it and it'll die and never come back. Well, that's not true, so they don't know what they're talking about. And I don't know that's the case either. Or it could be the third possibility, which I highly doubt, and that he knows something that the whole rest of the industry doesn't know, and that's how to get rid of Virginia buttonweed. And maybe he's thinking about, I'm gonna bring in a backhoe, I'm gonna dig out a big chunk of earth there and get the weed out of there and then fill it with dirt and then put a sod back on top, and that's how I'm gonna get rid of it for him. Maybe that was the thinking. But if he thinks he's gonna spray it and get, so anyway, it's frustrating when you lose a customer like that. I had strong suspicions a few years ago that one of my competitors or somebody affiliated with one of my competitors made up a fake online profile and went and left me a negative review and told people how bad I was and that sort of thing. That's frustrating. You know, again, I don't have 100% hardcore proof it was under a fake profile name, but there's some reasons for me to believe that I won't go into of why it may have been a particular competitor. But overall, I've always thought the lawn care industry was more of a you know, family kind of deal. I mean, we're obviously competing, but I find that most lawn care people are friendly toward their competitors. I'm friends with a lot of my competitors and try to be cordial to just about all of them, unless I think they leave fake online reviews for me. Back to the topic of just gaining and losing customers and why I wanted to talk about this in this video. Sometimes I find that, I'm gonna use the illustration here that hopefully makes sense to you. It can be a emotional roller coaster in somewhat, because you work hard in your business and you try to get customers, and you go out there, give them a quote, put them in your computer software, and then you get started on the lawn, they fire you before you have a chance to get going. Like I said, that one guy made me so mad because what happened was you spray his yard in April after the crabgrass is already germinated, and some people fire you saying they're nice. Some people want you to feel some pain, and he's the one that actually told me that he said you know, he done 2 treatments. April, I sprayed a dimension trying to get rid of the crabgrass. It's already germinated, which has mixed results, you know, depending on what time you use it. And to be honest with you, he had very little crabgrass when I went back in, I think, late May and fertilized his yard. He had Virginia buttweed too, same weed. I go spray it, and you don't know that they're gonna have that when you're looking at the yard originally. It's not till the summer you say, oh man, he's got a bunch of Virginia buttweed. But anyway, he had a little bit of crabgrass. I worked on it the second time. Well, he calls and says, hey, we got to cancel our service. I'm not seeing any results. I think it actually looks worse than when you started. You know, they're trying to put the dagger in you and just twist it a little bit so you feel the pain. And as I said, yo, I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's right, man, that's what I do. I just carry a handful of weed seeds in my back pocket, and as I'm walking around spraying, I just sprinkle a few weeds out behind me just to make it look worse than when I started. You know, what they don't understand is the crabgrass was there in April, but you couldn't see it. It was so small. Now in June, it was bigger and taller. You couldn't see the Virginia buttonweed, but now it's there. So I mean, I guess in some ways, I can learn to explain myself better. You try, but sometimes, you know, anyway, here's thoughts on gaining and losing customers. One, understand that as long as your business trajectory is going the right direction, that's important, okay? More important than you lose some. You're gonna lose some. Obviously, you don't want to lose many, but you know, it's just part of it. And so I just look at it like this. From my personal business, I'm gaining 100 or so customers a year. Okay, so if let's say I gain 115 and I lose 15 over the course of the year, then I gain a net 100 gain. And that's been about how it's went, to be honest with you. I'm in my 5th year here, and I've got 500, a little over 500 customers. So, and every year I'm losing some, but I'm gaining way more than I'm losing. Second point is, don't take too personal what they say. Now you can tell in the video, I mean, I take this stuff personal, so I'm not listening to my own advice, but I've gotten better than I used to. Because I'll tell you this, on the same day, I believe it was the same day because I was thinking of the irony of it. The same day that guy texted me and told me that his yard looked worse than when I started, and you know, he just couldn't justify paying if it was going to keep looking worse. The same day I was out doing yards, I go knock on one customer's door. Well, actually, I went and left the invoice on his door, and he came out and wanted to talk to me. I said, hey, I'm here to do this on your lawn. And he said, you know, we've been here for 5 years. He said, my yard has never looked better. And I just started on his yard about the same time as the guy started who told me that his yard was getting worse. So I'd say, you know what? Don't take it too serious when they put you down, and don't take it too serious when they compliment you, because like I said, same day somebody tells me my yard's looking worse and another guy says mine's the best it's looked in 5 years. I think it goes without saying, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway because of the video we're talking about. But don't play dirty pool with your competitors, and they want to do that to you and do dirty practices on how to gain customers and talk negative about them. I mean, that's just, to me, you know, I don't care. There's more to life than just getting another customer, and if I've got to resort to that, then it's just below the belt, and I'm not doing it. Obviously, another point is, if you do start losing customers, you may evaluate, you know, what could I improve on? Like I said, even with the customers I lose and they say it's getting worse, I could think, well, maybe I did not explain set the expectations from the beginning. You know, let's say, hey, you know what, we're a little late on our pre-emergency. It's possible that you may have some crabgrass pop up this summer, but it'll die out, or we can work on it, and then next year you shouldn't have it when we're able to get started at the proper time. And it's possible there may be some summer weeds we're not aware of right now because you can't see them. So just understand there's some things that may pop up in your lawn this summer, and we'll address them as they come on. You know, I could have maybe explained myself better. Now sometimes I found that you explain yourself, like I told this lady recently, last year she had a ton of what's called broom sedge, a terrible weed, all in her yard. I said, listen, a lot of times I just turn down those yards. She said, no, I want you to do it. I said, well, I'll do the yard, but I'm not gonna deal with the broom sedge. If you're okay living with the broom sedge, then that's fine, you know. And I was just basically saying, if you don't want me to do the yard, that's fine too. But I'm not gonna walk around and hand pull 1,000 broom sedge plants in your yard. And she said, okay, well, you know, we'll do it. That's broom sedge fine. Well, she fired me this year, she hired me last year. She said, my yard's been taken over with weeds. I went out there to look, guess what? She had broom sedge all in her yard, just like I told her she would. Sometimes you explain yourself and customer just doesn't listen, or they forget, or whatever, and that's fine. I don't listen that well sometimes, and I forget what people tell me, so I don't, again, don't take it too serious. I think the overall lesson, let me wrap up the video, is this. Let me use the illustration. When people play golf, what happens with the amateurs is, like when I play golf, I may have 3 pars in a row, and I think, man, look at me, I'm playing golf. And then I hit a bad tee shot, and I make a quadruple bogey. And then I'm so frustrated because I made a quadruple bogey, I make a double bogey on the next one, and then a bogey. But now I've totally derailed my entire round because I had a bad tee shot on one and I wasn't mentally tough enough to pull it back together. And you see the pros, when they make a bad shot, somehow they're able to scramble and salvage it. And you know, I'm not saying that it's always funny when they can't, but usually that's the difference, the mental toughness. I say same in lawn business. You're gonna gain customers, you're gonna lose customers, you're gonna have some things go right and wrong, but are you gonna let it just get you so depressed and down that it rattles you, or can you be mentally tough and just take it, you know, that, hey, this is part of business. I'm gonna gain some customers. I got customers that tell me I'm doing great, and I don't think their yard looks that good. I'm thinking, I wish I was doing better. Oh, they look so much better than it used to, they'll tell me. And you know, so you sort of get some undeserved compliments sometimes, and then sometimes you spend a lot of extra time working on some really tough situations in the yard, and they fire you because it wasn't turned around in a snap, you know, and that's frustrating. So, but anyway, just take it on. Don't let it get you too down, and just move on. And like I said, look at it in the big picture view instead of the small weekly view. If you're mowing grass and you say, well, this week I lost 3 customers and my motor blew up on my lawnmower, this is a terrible week. Well, yeah, look at it in the overall scheme of things. What did this year look like? Did we grow this year? How much were my repair and maintenance costs for the year? And you get a better situation. So I can look at this 2-week period and say, man, my business is crumbling. You know, well, that's not true. If I look at the scope of the year, I say, well, I gained 115 customers, I lost 15, I'm net 100 plus customers from where I was last year. Things are going great. So, hope the video is helpful. Let me hear from you in the comments. I'm Jason Creel. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I keep reminding people, if you want to go to the GIE, I'm gonna be there and be you know, doing some speaking, things like that. I'd love to meet a lot of you. There's a code in the description to get you half off your ticket. It's affiliate link. They give us a commission if you sign up through the link, but you get a half price ticket. Check out the other videos. Let me hear from you in the comments. I'll talk to you later. And it's hot out there. At least at the time of this video, it's so dang hot. So stay cool. See you later. Bye.